Hey everybody, Brett Tadlock here, TN Artist. This is Forest Path. I painted this in Procreate. I wanted to give you a few close-up shots. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I said, I wanted to give you these close-ups to kind of show you what it looks like. The original painting is 18 by 24 at 300 DPI. So Procreate's one of my favorite apps to paint in as far as on my iPad, and I wanted to go over how I did this. So what I did was started with a dark canvas. This is a really dark brown, and took the gouache brush and lightly sketched in where I wanted to leave the trees, where I wanted to put the grass, and where I wanted to have this kind of light in the distance showing. Next, I took the oil brush and put it into smudge and smudged the paint around to make it really kind of blend together and start laying the foundation for the grasses and stuff like that. Then I took and erased out some of the trees a little bit more, and then from there it's really just a matter of start refining the shapes and start refining the colors. And that's what I really recommend you do is, paint and underpainting and start building your layers, because that's what's going to give you the most depth, the most transition of atmosphere, and really kind of bring your painting to life, even if it is a little bit darker, kind of like this one is. But by having that dark underpainting there, I can then step up the value just a little bit and start laying in my highlights, really my midtones for where the light is going to come across the path that we're on. And by doing this, it really kind of gives a nice feeling of moving into it. It's almost like a ladder, like you're stepping up and stepping into the painting. And that was the point of this composition, was to lay it out like this to give that kind of feeling to it, so that it's just kind of a longing to go down the path and look around what's the bend, what's around the bend and everything else there. So you paint in your midtones that you have and try to really play around with the textures of it. To get the trees, I took some of that golden color that's in the background there and took the pencil tool and sketched in the lighted sides of the tree. And then I went to a kind of a bluish purple color to sketch the shadow side of the trees, so that way I have a reflected shadow coming in. It's just something that adds more interest and kind of gives that feeling of volume for trees. And so from there, it was step it up to that green, step up the value just a little bit more, and start kind of sketching in some rough patches of grass. I'm using the oil brush to do that, and once I get that done, then I switch to the pencil and the calligraphy pen to put in the individual blades of grass. Doing it that way is what's really going to give you that feeling of a lot of grass, so you don't have to sit there and kind of do each stroke, but instead it gives you some volume, it gives you some implied texture that goes there. And that's really the best way to do it. I have a full class on this and several other things in my Patreon channel, so make sure to join that if you haven't already as well. It's only $3 a month, and there's hours of content there, and I'm updating it weekly with more content, so it's well worth the $3 a month, and it really helps support a lot of stuff that I'm doing. So once we get the grasses kind of laid in there and figured out, it's just a matter from there to start putting in some of the distance highlights and some of the distance details that kind of hint at detail being around those trees. And that's really just a matter of kind of rough sketching in some just random shapes to look like the light is piercing through leaves and highlighting some leaves off in the distance. And that's a matter of just grabbing some of these colors that are already in the painting and putting them as splotches around here and there. And what that does is presents a color harmony for your painting, because you have the colors repeating. So I decided to add in a few skinny trees, a few leaning trees, some extra limbs and stuff like that, so these don't all look like a bunch of telephone poles. And then from there, just continued pushing in some highlights and using the there's a brush in the industrial, I believe, that is kind of like snowflakes, and so I use that to make the flowers that you'll see going in here in a minute. And that's just a matter of choosing some different colors, still picking the ones that are in the painting, but then bringing the value up quite a bit. And then when I have those same flowers and stuff repeated in the shadows, I kind of erase them back a little bit, or pick a little slightly darker value and then put that in there, so it gives that, again, that feeling of light kind of cascading across stuff. So like I said, I enjoyed painting this painting. Procreate is one of my favorites to use as far as on my iPad. and it works great. On desktop, I like to use ArtRage 6 because it has a lot of features and stuff that is really easy to use. It's also easy for me to teach people how to use it because it's not complicated. It's a very great entry-level program to start. So I mentioned that mainly because they are at the time of this recording, they are running a special like 40% off. So, and I'll put my link below in that. It's an affiliate link, but it helps again as well. But I recommend it just because I use it, and I've taught a lot of people how to use it to get started with digital painting. And it's a great program to transition with. Anyway, kind of wrapping this one up. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. If you have questions, leave them below. Come join my Facebook group. Come join Patreon. You can access me and the training from a lot of different places. But again, I appreciate you watching and hope you'll subscribe. Thanks.